Hey, buddy, listen here. You can't be posing like this during this part of the review. This is how I'm always posed. Well, you listen here, fella. Whoa, whoa, buddy, jeez. I was just joking around. Oh, alright, because this is how I'm always standing, so I don't know what you want me to do about it, fella. Well, let's just forget about it and be friends. Okay, then. Be sure to check out Agelessgeeks for your figures and collectibles. This video and YouTube channel is rated PG-13, so that means this channel is not for anyone under the age of 13. So what is going on, thy fellow collectors? How is everybody doing today? Daredevil19 here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Bandai Tamashii Nations SH Figuarts Star Wars Return of the Jedi BOBA FETT. So let's get into it right away and take a quick look at the box. So as you can see here, we do get the basic style box when it comes to the SH Figuarts Star Wars line. So we do get the window right there in the front of the box, and on the window in gold to say Star Wars and SH Figuarts. On the bottom to say BOBA FETT, Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, Tamashii Nations, and Bandai. And then here's the bottom of the box with the blah 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 stuff nobody cares about. Then here's the top of the box. And the one side there with the Tamashii Nations quality sticker. The other side has an image of the figure in the back of it to show a few cool poses you can get this bounty hunter into, along with some of the accessories. But anyway, that is the packaging. Let's get this figure to take a closer look at this character who had very little screen time in all three original Star Wars movies, but became the biggest fan favorite, most popular Star Wars character probably from out of all three of those films. Alrighty, taking a closer detailed look, and I know I'm a little late with reviewing this, but I just got back into collecting Star Wars figures, but I think Tamashii Nations did a pretty good job with the figure. My biggest complaint is the yellow armor pieces, even on the knees, have a beautiful shading to it, but there's no other shading at all on the figure. Like, why just put it on that and then put it on nothing else? It's just, I don't know, man, that seems a bit lazy and cheap to me. So not happy that they just put it on some of the smallest pieces on the figure and then they skip it on pretty much the rest of the darn figure. So I don't know what the hell is going on with that shit. But I think the sculpt and the paintwork turned out really nice on Boba here. The head sculpt looks great. I love all like the battle damage all throughout it. The silver pieces on the green, I think that looks dope. Really nice job on that. Even on the target lock-on mechanism thinger here, looks pretty cool. The paint's nice and clean, nice crisp paintwork on this, man. And I just love the Mandalorian helmets. They're so cool looking. Really nice paintwork over here too, as well. And like this part is dented in. Like some of them have like some sculpted dents to it, but most of them don't. So I like that they added that little dent in there. The torso here looks good, very clean paintwork. Wherever there is paint, you can see some more of that battle damage, sculpted wrinkles all throughout the gray, which looks nice. And this is something I don't really care for that much either. But on the lower torso here, I'm noticing like some plastic rub or paint rub or something like that from Articulation, so you do have to be cautious of that there. But we do get some nice sculpted wrinkles down there, as you can see. In the back here, we do get his jetpack. I don't know if you can remove it. I haven't even tried, actually. I don't think you can. Doesn't seem like you can remove it. But the jetpack looks great. I mean, they even added shading on like the missile right there. But very, very nice paintwork all throughout that, as you can see. Even shading on the yellow as well. So they did put a little more shading on the figure, but it's very, very scarce where it is. You know what I mean? There's not really much shading on the figure, and you can unpeg this burgundy piece right here, and it does have a peg hole, so you could use it for like a flight stand or something like that. And then we do get this piece, as I mentioned before. I don't really care too much for it. Doesn't really get in the way too much, but it does like to unpeg a lot, which does irritate me a bit. But we do get some nice sculpt detail all throughout it. I don't believe there's any shading on it. I do like the weathered look on the bottom there, but I just would have preferred a cloth piece hanging down there instead of some chunk of plastic that will get in the way of articulation. I mean, it looks good though. They did a nice job with the sculpt and paint on that. Then we do get the Padawan braids, or whatever the hell they are. I don't really care what they are anymore. But they are a separate piece. They can come off the arms, so just be cautious of that. But the sculpt of them look pretty good. I don't know if they're Wookiee braids or Padawan braids, whatever the hell they are, but they look pretty good, as you can see there. And then the arms here, these shoulder pad pieces, I love the shading on it. We get some more battle damage. There's a sculpted, those dings are sculpted in there, actually, some sculpted dents. Then we do get the Mandalorian symbol right there, which has some very nice paint detail on that, so really clean paintwork on that there. And then the arms have some nice sculpted wrinkles on the gray parts, and the gauntlets look pretty good too. Right one looks dope there, and the left one looks dope too. We have that little missile on it as well. And then we do get his belt here, which doesn't have any paintwork on it, so it's a bit bland looking, but it does have some nice sculpt detail. And I don't know if you could tell down here, but you can see the stitching on the top and the bottom of the belt right there, which looks really cool. Then we do get a couple pouches, which are on hinges right there. And they do have some nice sculpt detail to them, as you can see, some sculpted wrinkles and everything. And then the lower portion here, even on his armor or cup, he has a little battle damage there as well. The legs here, we do get the pockets on the front, which have some nice sculpted wrinkles to them, some more sculpted wrinkles on the legs as well, and for some reason, Boba is wearing a thong there. And then the knee pad armor looks just as dope as the shoulder armor there. We get a little bit of that shading, and we get some battle damage on it as well. I like these silver pieces on these sides. I think that looks pretty cool. And then the lower portion of the legs there, we get some tools or weapons or something on the front or on his shins right there in those pockets, which look pretty cool. Nice sculpted paint detail on that, some more sculpted wrinkles. And then for the feet here, we do get some nice sculpt and paint detail on them, as you can see, sculpted wrinkles and all that. Very cool looking. On the bottom, we do get some sculpted lines. So overall, I think Tamashii Nations did a really nice job with this figure. Like I said, my biggest issue or complaint is that they barely put any shading on the figure. I mean, you see them putting effort into some parts, but pretty much the rest of the figure does not have shading on it. At least they could have thrown it on the gray parts, you know what I mean? But besides that, I think the figure turned out pretty cool. But anyway, let's continue on. Moving on to the accessories, Boba really isn't included with much. I'm pretty sure they could have included a couple other things, but I haven't seen Return of the Jedi in so long, I can't think of anything off the top of the head right now. I'm not sure if he had a flamethrower or anything like that, so I'm not sure what else they could have included, but he really isn't included with that much. But what we do get his sick looking blaster here, which turned out really nice. I love that black paint that they used for the main color of the gun right there. Really nice looking. It has like a glossy or a shiny type look to it. Not really glossy, more like shiny. Then they added a little bit of brown here on the piece that you rest up on your shoulder there. And he does grip onto it fine. But I love the tiny sculpt detail on the grip right there, and just throughout the blaster. It just looks dope, man. Really nice work on that. Beautiful looking accessory there. So we do get that. And then we finally get 8 alternate hands. And starting on the top right here, we do get a pair of fists, of course, which do come on the figure out of the packaging. Then we do get a pair of trigger finger hands where the index finger is fully extended, so he's not actually pulling on the trigger of the blaster. Would have been cool if they included trigger finger hands also that were squeezing on the trigger there. Then we do get a pair of gripping hands so we can grip onto the other end of the blaster. And these hands remind me of that character from One Piece. I don't know if anybody's seen the Dressrosa arc where they're fighting Doflamingo, but one of Doflamingo's henchmen always made like a G symbol with his hand, and this is what the hands kind of remind me of. He's like, there's the G. What was his name? Gao or something like that. Lao G, I think that was his name, but that's what those hands do remind me of. If you're a fan of One Piece, you know what I'm talking about. And then finally, we do get a pair of open, I guess, resting type hands, and all the hands are pretty simple to swap out, and we do get some nice sculpt and paint detail throughout all 8 hands. But anyway, that is all the accessories included with Boba Fett. Let's keep moving on with the rest of the review, shall we? Now for the height of Boba here, to the very top of his head, it looks like he's just shy of 6 inches tall. And then here he is compared to the SH Figuarts Jango Fett, the Hasbro Black Series Mandalorian, the Black Series Jawa, and the Black Series IG-11. And I think Boba scales pretty well with his father, Jango here. And then here he is compared to the SH Figuarts Endgame Captain America, the SH Figuarts Star-Lord, the Mephix comic version Deadpool, and the Mezco 112 Silver Knight Batman. And then here he is compared to the Storm Collectible Cyborg Smoke, the SH Figuarts Sage Mode Naruto, the Mephix Justice League Batman, and the Figma Black Swordsman Guts. And then here he is compared to the SH Figuarts Awakened Warrior Super Saiyan Goku and the Mezco 112 Deadpool. Anyway, there's some quick comparisons. Let's keep moving on with the rest of the review. So now for the articulation, and BOBA does have some pretty good movement here. So this piece here, the target lock-on piece, does hinge up and down. Just be careful with it because it is a very thin piece of plastic there, but it does go right in front of the visor, so that is definitely dope. It goes a little lower so you can put it where you would like, so I do like how that is articulated. Then we do get two joints at the neck here. The upper neck joint, you could get BOBA to look up about that much, looks down about that much, which isn't too bad. You do get pretty good pivot up there, really good pivot actually, and then it does swivel as well. The lower neck here just goes forward a tiny bit, doesn't go back at all, so with both joints you can get them to look down that much, and then you do get a little bit of pivot at that lower neck there, not too much. It also does swivel as well, but you do get some pretty good movement with the neck and head articulation, even though he is wearing a helmet there. And then the jetpack here, the jet boosters are on a ball peg, so you can move them all around and swivel them and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool. Now the torso here, we do get a joint at like the mid torso and then one at the waist, so I'm just going to show both of them at the same time, and he does not crunch forward at all, and that's just horrible, man. Horrible forward movement with both those joints. Goes back much better though. You do see a little bit of a gap at the waist there. Then with the pivot with both joints, you just get a little bit of pivot there, not too much, and then both joints do swivel. You get the better swivel at the waist though. The pouches can hinge up and down on both sides there. And then for the arms here, the shoulder pad pieces are on, I believe, a double hinge right there. Actually, it's on a double hinge and a ball peg. So there is a hinge that connects to the shoulder pad that connects with a ball peg, and then there's a hinge that connects to the arm there. So you can move those around a bit. So I do like that they make those articulated. Then we do get a very nice joint at the shoulder here, and it does shift the arm out a little bit, and you can shift it back in. But you do get a very nice circular motion out of the shoulder right there. The right arm here, the braids do get in the way a little bit, so you're going to have to maneuver them around sometimes. And there goes that stupid thing again. But they do get in the way sometimes, so you're going to have to move the braids around a little bit when you articulate the arm and the shoulder pad piece. But the arms do go out to the sides. Let's see, if you shift the armor all the way down, you can get the arms out to the sides about 90 degrees. Now if you leave the shoulder pad piece up like that, it's going to get in the way of the arm articulation, as you can see right there. So the arm won't go out as far if you don't shift the shoulder pad piece all the way down. But the arms do go up and down. We do have true bicep swivel, which is definitely awesome. We do have double jointed elbows that do bend in all the way. There is no swivel at the gauntlets, which I wish they did put that on there, since we have that missile on this one. And then for the wrists here, we do get a ball hinge, so it does swivel and then it does hinge back and forth. The gauntlets do hinder some of the wrist articulation though, so that does kind of suck. Now for the legs here, BOBA only kicks forward about that much, which really is not good at all. The pouches on his thighs do get in the way, but if you move it out a little bit, his leg does kind of kick outward, but you can get it up about 90 degrees. But as you can see, the leg is going out to the side a little bit there. And then they do go to the back, really not at all actually. And then let's see if he can Jean-Claude Van Damme it here in those Wookiee braids, or whatever the hell they are. Padawan braids are starting to annoy me. And BOBA FETT cannot Jean-Claude Van Damme it. They go out, I'd say, maybe a little more than 45 degrees. And then we do get the hip swivel there, which has some very nice swivel movement. And we do have double jointed knees that do bend back all the way. And do they swivel at all where the joints connect? No, they do not. And then for the ankles here, they do swivel. They hinge up a pretty good amount. Hinge down just a tiny bit. Whoops, I was pulling the joint out. They only hinge down a tiny bit. This piece around the ankle is it's not a really soft plastic, but it's not a hard plastic. It does get in the way a little bit of the ankle articulation though. And then you do get a really nice ankle pivot there, as you can see. And then of course we do get a toe hinge there. So overall the articulation is pretty good on Boba. Definitely not the best, especially the torso joint. The torso joint is horrible on this figure, and the Wookiee braids or Padawan braids get in the way, which gets annoying. And then the cape type piece also does get in the way and pops off a lot, which also does get irritating. But I mean, you will be able to get them in some okay bounty hunter like poses, and I'm about to show you some of those poses right about now. But anyway, that is my review of the SH Figuarts Return of the Jedi Boba Fett. Hope you enjoyed it. If I had to rate this figure with detail, I'd give it an even 8. Articulation, I'd give it a 7.5. Accessories, I'd give a 7.5. And then the overall quality, I would give a perfect 10. If you would like to know the price and where to buy this figure, I did have to get mine off eBay, but you can always check with my buddy at Agelessgeeks.com. If you can't find something on their website, I do highly recommend going through their Instagram or Facebook page. We'll put more information in the description below. And if you would like to support the channel, don't forget to subscribe and click on that notification bell. And if you liked it, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, oh well, I guess you didn't like it. But thanks for watching. I will see you later. We're going to be taking a look at the Bandai Tamashii Nations SH Figuarts star blah 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 blah. Many few characters who had so little screen time. And I think Boba here scales pretty well with his flasher of the blaster. And these hens God darn it, hens. We're not talking hens here, we're talking hands. Damn you.